You know, the Northern Chumash Tribal Council is a 501c3 tax-exempt organization, and we were started underneath the Senate Bill 18. And Senate Bill 18 allows for Native American organization to be formed and be state recognized. We're not federally recognized. And so what we tried to do is we said, okay, now how do we fund this organization? You know, you need funds to build a council and stay, you know, and to stay healthy in the council. So we looked at agriculture. Agriculture is something that's in my past. My family for over 200 years raised apples in Sea Canyon, which is just north of Apple Beach, California, and south of San Luis Obispo, right on the coast. And so my mother was a wonderful horticulturist. She was the first organic apple grower in California, and she was the medicine woman for our tribe. And so she taught me all about growing. I mean, she was just magnificent. People would come from all over the world to see her gardens. I was so fortunate. I was raised in a Garden of Eden. I mean, there was apples and fruit and berries and just everything. And then we went to town maybe, once every 2 months. We had no electricity. You know, my job was to, every evening when I came home from school, I cleaned the kerosene lamps, you know, the chimneys on the kerosene lamps. So we had no electricity. And so we didn't have any TV or anything like that. So I grew up, you know, reading a lot. You know, reading was our main entertainment. My father was a great reader, and so we always had books. And my mom didn't read much, but she grew things. And then when she wasn't growing things, she was canning. You know, we had a wonderful pantry. I didn't know what it was like to have anything else except in a jar of peaches and applesauce and, you know, squash. And she would trade with the local fishermen from Apple Beach. So growing up, I didn't know anything for me, tuna was big chunks of white meat in a jar, you know. And it was kind of funny how this story. I started playing baseball when I went into San Luis Obispo after I graduated from 6th grade. We went into 7th grade. We traveled into San Luis. And so I started playing baseball, and I spent an evening with one of my friends, and we went to his house, and his mom goes, "Would you like to have a tuna sandwich?" And I go, "Yeah, well, yeah, I love a tuna sandwich." So she gets this can and opens this can up and dumps it out. And I looked at it and I didn't recognize it, you know. It didn't look like the tuna that my mom. It was kind of a shock to me because it was all mushed up, you know. And it didn't look like tuna. Didn't smell like tuna. I ate it anyway because I didn't say anything. But I went home and I told my mom, I go, "What is that stuff that they call tuna in the can?" And she explained it to me. She goes, "That's just, you know, it's not what we make. I mean, we make the real thing, and that's kind of little pieces of the albacore." So anyway, you know, that's the kind of life that I was raised in a horticultural environment. We raised all of our own food. My grandmother would send me to the ocean. She was a full-blooded Native American, and we'd get abalone, and you know, we'd bring big stacks of abalone back from the coast. And then she would make this wonderful chili verde. She made her own tomato sauce from our gardens, and she canned it all. And so the pantry was as big as this trailer or bigger, and she had everything in there. And so she'd make this wonderful chili Colorado from the abalone, and it was so good. So that's my background. My background is in agriculture. I've always been, you know, into horticulture, and I haven't had the opportunity to really, you know, take that to a commercial level. So what I did is I convinced our tribal council that rather than waiting to become federally recognized, which takes approximately $10 million and about 20 years waiting on a waiting list with the United States government, the federal government, I said, let's go with agriculture. Agriculture, in 10 years, if we wait, we can already be producing hundreds of thousands of dollars commercially through agriculture. And so I was able to convince them, so we started this little journey, we call it now the pre-pilot program. It was everything that we did before we've gotten to this pilot program, which we're involved in now. And I was experimenting. I was just learning about all kinds of new technologies. When you go on the internet, you look up and you see all the different types of vertical farming, new types of farming that are happening. The Eden Project in in England. Michael Pollan, you know, he's just a wonderful person in taking Mother Earth, which we, you know, are a part of, and he talks about all of these different new systems, from looking at the animals and the bugs and you know, and then duplicating systems that work from Mother Earth. And so I studied all of this stuff, and I started getting into vertical farming. And when we got into vertical farming, Larry Cohen, who is the executive director of the Lighthouse Foundation at AVLA, and also he was the executive director for the Sea Life Center at AVLA, where we did a wonderful mosaic down there, an 80,000 piece mosaic. And when we were done with that project, Larry's retired, and what he does is he helps nonprofits all over the world. This is what he does. He helps them with their web pages. He's just a great guy. He came to me and he said, "Fred, I want to help you. How can I help you?" And he said, "What do you want? What do you want?" And I said, "Well, we want our land back." He goes, "Wow." He goes, "Do you have a plan to get your land back?" I said, "Yeah, we want to buy it." I said, "It's for sale out there. Well, we're not going to wait for the federal government to give it back to us. We're not going to wait for anybody to give it back to us." He goes, "Well, you have a plan." I said, "I do." So I laid this plan out about this model, this 1 acre community vertical farm, where this 1 acre greenhouse, these 1 acre greenhouses are placed in communities, in urban areas, where people don't have to travel very far to get their fresh vegetables. It's, you know, most of your vegetables that you buy in the store travel 1,500 miles on an average. They come from Canada, they come from Mexico, they come from all of the different parts of the world, and not locally. So you have an emerging farmers markets that are happening that are wonderful. People are starting to buy local from little farms all over. And so I felt that with this model, if we could take and provide fresh, healthy food to neighborhoods, would be a very great revenue stream to help us buy our land back. So what Larry did is he brought on a gentleman, Nick Alter, and Nick is a person with numbers and business plans and things like this. Very, very good. So they looked at my idea and they took it and they tore it apart piece by piece, and they went through the whole plan and they put it all back together, and they came back to me and they said, "Fred, you've undersold your potential." And it was just it's a great feeling when you can undersell your project rather than oversell it, you know, and you have to start rearranging things. So that's the potential that we have here. This 1 acre greenhouse model will have a deli, we'll have a flower shop, we'll have a Native American theme gift shop emporium, and we'll also have the fresh vegetables. And in some parts of the greenhouse, we can even have it open to the public where they can pick their own fresh vegetables, or strawberries, or things like that. So it's a community-based, and then the next layer of that is education. Being able to give seminars, bring people from all over the world, talk about permaculture, talk about these new systems that we're developing. I'm an inventor, and I've been able to invent some new vertical growing systems. So the model that we're shooting for is this 1 acre model, and we believe that once we hit this 1 acre model and can build our first one, that we can produce approximately $5,000 a day. And so when you produce $5,000 a day, you create a revenue stream which you can go out and start buying more property. So we're going to be looking at buying property to start with near residential areas. So we would love to buy this lease land that we're on here because it's perfect. We have 15,000 wonderful people in Los Osos, and they already support us. They buy everything we can grow every day, and we're expanding, of course. But this, I mean, if we were to buy this land, we would build our first 1 acre greenhouse here. And then we want to build one in San Luis. We want to build one in Templeton. We want to build one in Arroyo Grande. And we want to build them in Santa Barbara. We want to start put several in Santa Barbara, from Gaviota all the way down to Montecito, Carpinteria, and then even go further into Ventura, LA, San Diego, and then go north. So this is the beginning of something that's very commercial. I mean, we're very serious about taking this project to a very high level commercial enterprise. Not just, you know, one or two. We're talking about several hundred. But in that process of reaching our goals, there's a need worldwide for this technology. We just had a gentleman that came from Hawaii. He's going to school in Santa Barbara, and his name is Ayumi, and he's a young man, and he comes to our events in Santa Barbara, and that's how we gotten to know him. And he was very excited when he heard about our vertical growing operation, and he came up here about 3 weeks ago into the video, and he was going to take it home to show his people in Japan what we have here. He's so excited because in about 1/3 of the country now, they could never grow in the ground for the next who knows how long. He sees these vertical systems as being able to grow fresh vegetables, not in the ground. They're hanging systems. They're straight up away from the ground. So just taking that example alone, here's a country that's been hit with a huge disaster, and they don't know how they're going to grow vegetables where they've grown them for thousands of years. Our systems will be able to help them. In their greenhouses, again, they can start growing vegetables. Mm-hmm. So not only is it beneficial to the indigenous people, the Chumash people, we're going to put people to work. We're going to utilize our resources. All of these systems utilize about 1/10 of the amount of water to grow a head of lettuce that you normally grow in horizontal land growing. So we cut back on all of the resources. We use them more efficiently. All of this greenhouse, the first acre greenhouse will be solar based and wind based. So it'll be completely off the grid. There will be no energy input. So each one of these systems will be solar run or wind or biofuel, because there's a lot of different types of plant materials that are waste. But if you use them in your bio process, you can create methane, and you can heat and run generators, and so you have a complete closed loop system. And that's the key to Mother Earth. Learning from Mother Earth, she has no waste. Everything goes to another system. Everything goes in a circle from one to the other. If we were to grow, and this is what we want to do, we want to start our own worm farm here when we start getting a little bit more organized. It's another phase of this project. So all of the waste will go into the worms. The worms will eat the waste. And then we're also going to start up aquaculture. So we can grow trout, we can grow catfish, we can grow all kinds of freshwater fish. And so the worms can be fed to the trout. The trout can be fed at the deli, fresh trout with all these fresh vegetables. So it's a complete closed loop system. So what we're into now is we're into the pilot program. And the Lighthouse Foundation of Avila Beach has given us 2 grants. And so we're now growing, and we're now expanding our greenhouse operation so that we can achieve our first goal. And our first goal is $300 a day. And we feel that by the end of the year, we'll be able to reach that goal. And then by the end of next year, we're looking at another $43,000 injection of grant funds. We will be able to reach $1,000 a day. Now that's through selling at our vegetable stand here, and that's through selling at the farmers markets, and that's through selling to all of the local restaurants, health food stores, and maybe even some wholesaling. But we really would like to utilize the restaurants, utilize the farmers markets as our main focus to start with. But as we grow, we will need to step into the distribution end of it. And there's a company here local called All About Produce that does nothing but sell organic vegetables. And they come right to your farm and pick up your products. So anything that we don't sell, we can sell to All About Produce. And so this is our plan. Our plan is to get to this 1 acre greenhouse, be able to be self-sufficient, be able to be off the grid, and be an example worldwide. Now, the second layer of that is we would love to be able to take these operations and put them in a container. Fill a container with a greenhouse all ready to go, all your plants, all your computer systems, because we can take these anywhere in the world. We can put the building instructions in the language of the country that it's going to. So we can send a team there in advance to do the site work that needs to be done, train the people that where this is going. So this whole process can happen worldwide. And you know, there's so many levels and layers of that. There's so many people that need food, and what is the best way that you can help them? Giving them food, it only lasts for so long. But if you show them how to grow food, it lasts forever. And you teach the children how to do this. You teach the people how to do this. So we have the first part of this is to establish it here in America, get it growing, get it going, get it working. We're going to have the whole thing computerized. I come from a computer background. I worked in Silicon Valley for over 15 years, so I know I have a strong computer background. And so I understand about broadband. I understand about how we can monitor everything remotely. So we can have a center where each one of our greenhouses is always automatically monitored. We can build our own software so that our software can look at the parts per million, look at the pH levels, look at the temperature, wherever that greenhouse is, and can give solutions to if they have bug infestation, if they have some kind of plant problems. So we can provide to anywhere in the world solutions for these greenhouses to operate either remotely or training the people how to do this on site, but always staying in touch with them and helping them, giving them the new ideas that we come up with from our systems. So it's not just a localized thing. We want to connect nationally and internationally with our 1 acre greenhouse operation. So that's kind of in a nutshell what we want to do with this. We're looking for grant funding. It's very important that we get to this next stage. Currently we're looking for matching funds for the first $15,000 that we've gotten. That'll get us to this $300 a day and into the next level, which is $1,000 a day by next year. So our plan is a 3-year plan to build our first 1 acre greenhouse. And that's basically the whole commercial agricultural part of the Northern Chumash Tribal Council, reaching self-sustainability.
And the stream of revenue will be first proving that the system works.
Exactly.
You prepare this prototype, because that's what I can figure to name this system. A prototype. Mm-hmm. You kind of monitor it.
Absolutely.
and improved it. Absolutely. And once you nail down all the system to the precision where you said we can package these as a system.
Right.
So the second stage, if I understand correctly, and please correct me if I'm wrong.
No.
The second stage of this plan is to generate revenue from the ready-made turnkey 1 acre farm.
Exactly. I mean, and see, nobody else is doing that worldwide that I know of. I mean, you can buy greenhouses and you can buy systems. There are a lot of vertical systems out there, but no one has done the packaging, where you can put the seeds, glue the seeds into these pads. So all the people have to do is roll these pads out in their trays, turn the water on, and the seeds will grow. So, I mean, everything can be absolutely 100% automated for them. It's absolutely a 100% turnkey operation. And then we're monitoring it for them, too, as they go along and as they're learning. Every morning when they wake up, they come to their computer, and it says, well, you need to adjust your pH a little bit. You need to add, more nutrients because your parts per million are down a little bit. Oh, you have a mold going on, or you have an aphid problem. You need to add this to your water so that it gets rid of those. And so on and so forth. So it becomes a really easy way, an efficient way, using the best possible, the maximum potential from your resources, using 1/10 of the water that it does normally to grow vegetables, and producing 5 to 10 times the amount that you normally produce in 1 acre.
Mm-hmm. And basically, you invented this system.
I invented.
You came with the background from your parents growing vegetables and fruits,
Exactly.
and you kind of tweak it and add some value of your own to the system, so it becomes something that is commercial.
Exactly.
It has commercial value.
Exactly. Like we were talking when you did the tour here with us several weeks ago, the lady from where Myanmar,
Yes.
formerly Burma,
Yes.
I mean, she said, Fred, what about using bamboo as, you know, some
Instead
of
of
your
plastic
system
and
instead of
make it more
like-
appealing.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, so we can take this to a commercial residential market, where you can have these wonderful, beautiful bamboo vertical tubes growing your lettuce and your herbs and your tomatoes, and they look appealing. You know, I mean, it fits in your backyard. You can even have them so that they're free swinging. When they hit each other, it sounds like a wind chimes. You know. No, I mean, they make music as they grow. So I mean, I was thinking about that the other day. I mean, because a little breeze would come through, and so. But those kind of ideas are wonderful, and where we're going to go, we would love to go in that direction to make it not only for commercial level, where we're going to do what we're going to do when we get to the commercial levels, we're going to build our own mold. So we're going to use recyclable plastic that can be recycled, you know, many times, and we'll build our own mold so that all the holes, you know, the growing sites in the plastic tubular systems will be put in there automatically. And then we'll manufacture them here in the United States.
Well, that's what we need.
Yeah.
We need manufacturing happening.
Absolutely. This is the key. I was just looking at the other day. I mean, Ford is starting to hire people in the United States because what you're having in a worldwide economy is you're having, where before, when gas was cheap, it was okay to take tankers of products from overseas. Well, now that gas is going up, fuel is going up, it's not cost effective anymore to bring it from overseas. And, you know, even in China, the price of labor has tripled in the last couple of years. So you're finding that the cost to manufacture overseas is not cost effective anymore. And people don't like to wait, you know, for that time coming across the ocean. So you're starting to see manufacturing reemerge here in America, which is wonderful. And I was reading on the New York Stock Exchange the other day, where there was a blurb there on the Wall Street Journal about how software people and, you know, people who have never done any farming in their lives, they showed this picture of this guy who, he said he never even knew what a seed looked like. He's standing in the middle of a new farm that he just bought, like 10,000 acres in Iowa. Bushel of corn last year was $4 a pound. This year it's $7 a pound. I mean, so you're seeing big money being moved back into agriculture, and you're seeing, because of the crunch, you're going to see the subsidies go away. The subsidies are going to start falling out because we don't have the money within our government system to continue paying agricultural subsidies. So you're going to see farming people are starting to look at farming in a good way. And you're going to see, I think, an emerging market in farming. I mean, it's wonderful to see the farmer's market. I mean, that's a whole niche in itself, and it starts local. I mean, and I believe the answer to healing our economy is a local insurgent, you know, from the grassroots level, where you can see this, you know, farmers markets, these little things, these little business, family-owned business. People are leaving their corporate jobs to buy little farms and take their family, you know, out of the cities, and they're re-emerging the model of the family in farming, which is just wonderful. I mean, it's happened to us here on the farm. I mean, both of my daughters were doing other things when we got the farm. They've come back to the farm now. They help me here on the farm. My grandson, he hands me little plants with his little fingers. He's 5 years old. He just goes, here, he calls me Grandpa Fred. He goes, here, Grandpa Fred, here's another one. And I'm planting them as he hands it to me. I mean, it's just a wonderful experience, you know, a real warm, healthy, and we're not having to deal with the casinos. I mean, I believe, you know, the casinos, they're my cousins. They have a wonderful, beautiful casino in Santa Ynez. And they average about $250 million a year. But with the systems of agriculture that we're talking about and doing this, you know, national and worldwide enterprise, we could do 250 million a year in 10 years. I believe, I firmly believe that's what this plan, this vision that I've been working and that I see, there's no question about it in my mind that we have the potential to grow to doing $250 million a year in agriculture in 10 years. And so, what a wonderful thing.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it changes the whole paradigm back to Mother Earth. You know, we're not having to dig in Mother Earth. We're growing them in greenhouses and systems. So there's no pollution whatsoever. No nitrates go into the soil. Everything's done organic, and it's all completely a closed-loop system with no waste.
How can people reach you or reach the organization if they want to learn more about it, bring you to give a talk about it? And so the knowledge about this plan get broadened, and you have more chances to reach out people, and people have the chance to reach out you to be able to help you.
Well, I think the best way to get in touch with me is through our webpage. It's www.northernchumash.org, and my email is there. It's fcollins@northernchumash.org, so they can email me. And really what we need right now is to prove, like you were talking about, we want to prove that the system can work at a commercial level. So we need to get through this pilot program to the point where we're able to be self-sustainable. So at the level we're at now, we need another matching funds of $15,000. And then at the very second funding level, when we build our next large greenhouse, which will be 200 feet long and 40 feet wide, we need an additional $43,000. And that will be it. That, from then on, the systems will reproduce enough money that we can continue growing this all the way to the $4,000 a day where we build our first acre greenhouse.
So basically, this $15,000 is for infrastructure.
It's for finishing the new greenhouse that we have over here.
Expanding,
getting that finished, getting that to the point where we're going to be at $300 a day by the end of the year.
Because volume is what is key here.
You
want volume so you can sell it to restaurants.
Absolutely.
You can't offer if you only have these many vegetables and
I'm running out of vegetables every day on my stand. I mean, I don't have enough. I mean, right now we just don't have. We're not growing. We don't have enough vegetables. So
and you don't have enough vegetables because you don't have infrastructure, and you don't have the infrastructure in place because you need the funds.
Right. Well, we're moving forward. I mean, we're not going to stop. We take every extra penny that we get and we put it into this because we know this is where our future is. And so, even though we need the funding from grant funding, we're going to keep every little penny that we make. I mean, we do consulting as the Northern Chumash Tribal Council. We consult on land use issues here in the county. We help, we preserve our ancestors, protect our ancestors, but we work with the development community. Mm-hmm. So the development community pays us a consulting fee. And so all of those funds, whatever, that we can squeeze out of there goes into our greenhouse operation. So, we're not going to be waiting around for grant funding. We're going to keep growing this thing, and it may take us a little bit longer. But I believe that, once people really start seeing what we're doing, that we're going to get this overwhelming. I mean, already we're getting overwhelming enthusiasm. And then I think the next level is we'll start seeing grant funding come to us.
Shall we walk to the site and see?
Let's do that.
Firsthand.